That's discussion.
You are live.
You don't want headaches, right?
No, you're doing.
You're live.
I'd like one.
There's
Okay.
chicken.
Then I don't have to give my own out. And I'm not
You're
good
live.
at, I'll tell you what I'm not good at, and then we'll go, is I'm not really good at online writing notes on the page. I just, that's the one thing I can't, and you know, some people like you are really good at, that's the one thing I'm not really, and I find it a lot better to scribble my notes on the side.
Oh, good.
I can help with that if you want.
I'm sure you can.
This is the teamwork.
And with you offering to help me, I'll take help from anyone. It is Tuesday, January 13th. We are here with the traffic court and Terry Corzone, and I will have to admit, thank you very much for your cookies.
Oh, my
We
pleasure.
love them, and you're world famous for them, and we really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We, as a little background to this, and part of the reason we wanted you here, we went around the table as a group and talked about transportation and what our priorities were. And one of the things that came up is safety. So what part and anecdotally, I think there is some concern out there about the speed that people are traveling, how many people are out there driving with unregistered vehicles and everything. So what we thought was a good thing to do is, where are the tickets? Are we back to where we were before COVID? What does that picture look like? And therein, we ask you to come. And I see this is fairly long, and we've got a half an hour. And if we don't have all of it, we may ask for somebody, you or someone in your office, to and I'm sure we're probably going to have backup questions.
That's perfectly fine. And it looks like a lot, but it actually is not a long presentation.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure what level of detail you'd like. So
Well,
hopefully,
you may, we may go further in detail into this, and there may be further questions, because there was a lot of concern about the safety aspects, and there are a few pieces to this. So
okay, great. Well, thank you. Terry Corzone, State Court Administrator, and Megan kindly provided some guidance in terms of what information you were interested in particular, the number of unregistered vehicle violations and the number of speeding violations over the past 10 years.
Mhm.
So this data is geared to that request. And I've done it kind of page by page in the hopes that just makes it easier to follow.
Mhm.
But in terms of unregistered vehicle violations by calendar year, you'll see that there definitely was the decrease during the COVID years. And actually the number of those violations has now reached pre-COVID levels. There's been an increase since COVID. So the first slide does show the decline, but then right now, at least for the most recent information for calendar year 2025, it's basically very similar to the pre-COVID levels 10 years ago for unregistered vehicles. Yes.
This is tickets written or?
Yes, this is based on Judicial Bureau data. So
Mhm.
tickets that went through the Judicial Bureau.
Okay, and doesn't really matter if they were challenged or not, or like,
Um,
or if they were like, because like one time I didn't have my registration in the car, it was registered, and they gave me like a week to get it, just bring in the registration. So I assume that those kind of things would be included.
You know, Megan, Joanne Charbonneau, who's the manager of the Judicial Bureau, is she connected?
She is on.
Okay, so let me just clarify. Joanne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Joanne. Do you happen to know, and I apologize, will you see what's on the screen if you don't have the paperwork? Because Linda had provided it. Is that the number of, I'm going to say conviction
Yeah.
versus,
I didn't know.
You were right the first time, Terry. That's the number of tickets that were filed with the Judicial Bureau. If there was some kind of an agreement with the officer, giving them a certain time frame before they filed the ticket, we wouldn't have that information.
So this, I'm assuming is a very small challenge on our unregistration. Okay, thank you. That's
Thank
all.
you.
Small successful challenge.
Yeah, all right.
May I follow up on that question?
Yeah.
So, might be a hard one to answer, but I think it is worth some conversation. Do you have a sense of how many, like what proportion of unregistered vehicles are actually cited? Because I think with the change of the colors, you know, it wasn't as apparent to folks, when a car was not registered. I think we may not be, getting,
There very well may be unregistered vehicles that never got a ticket, for example, but I don't know how we would be able to
right,
identify that number.
yeah, maybe we can think on that, because there might be a way to do some sort of
Or it may be that
study.
if you bring in law enforcement, they may have some insight into that.
I think we've looked, some of us have peeked ahead in your report.
Oh,
I think that will bring
Okay.
law enforcement in.
oh, okay. So this is basically the slide that addresses unregistered vehicle violations. And then the rest of them have to do with speeding violations. And then the next page by calendar year shows you, again, a decrease, roughly half of the number of speeding violations now in 10 years ago, and showing the decrease through COVID and then leveling off, if you will, from the COVID years to the present. However, the subsequent slides, which are broken down to categories of, for example, if you were speeding more than 1 to 10 miles per hour, 21 to 30 miles per hour, et cetera, there are some categories where the numbers exceed the pre-COVID numbers. So I thought if we went through those, you could look at that and draw whatever conclusions. But in general, in total, for speeding violations, we're roughly half of what we were 10 years ago for the speeding violations.
And you, this brings into, what's the monetary value to the state of, the tickets that were written, say, 10 years ago versus this, to make a comparison in how much revenue less is this on the revenue side?
Versus 10. I don't have that off the top of my head. I was actually asked by someone recently in terms of fines and fees in general, which would include Judicial Bureau. And I know that, and Joanne, I didn't bring that paperwork with me, but Joanne, I know you were involved with that. Do you by chance, would you know the revenues from traffic tickets, say 2025 versus 10 years ago? We can certainly dig that up and provide it, but I
We
didn't.
Yeah, we'd have to run some data on that. Is it for specific speeding violations or just the data for the revenue in general?
Did you want to limit the revenue to speeding or any traffic tickets?
Well, if I'm looking at, we'll pick a
Speeding
year,
something.
we'll say 2019, which is the first year, which is 42,450. What's the background behind that versus 2025, where it's 20,613?
Right. And Joanne, is there an average price per speeding ticket? Because I know they can vary, and that way we can maybe.
Yeah, they're around 162. Some of them, most of them.
Oh, okay.
They could be a little bit higher depending on the violation, how they charge it. But we can certainly get the revenue for you. I just wanted to clarify just around speeding and no registration, correct?
So if we looked at 162 times 2613, that comes to 3,339,306. And if it was the same average 10 years ago, it's double that. So it looks like.
So basically,
Yeah, 10 years ago, you might not know, Joanne, would it have been 162 on average, or has it gone up year by year, the average?
I don't think it's gone up too much.
Okay, so
and remind me, all of this gets deposited in the general fund?
Joanne, do you have that? I believe so.
Most of it's general fund. There are some, you'll see the municipality ones, which is the local basic rules. Some of it gets to the municipalities, but most of it's general fund.
These all speeding tickets regardless of the officer that wrote the ticket.
This slide is all, and then the subsequent slides are broken down, whether it's state or local. The next slide actually has to do with what's called the basic rule, and that's 23 VSA 1081. And that provides that no individual shall drive a vehicle on a highway at a speed greater than is reasonable and prudent under the conditions. So you might have a posted speed limit, but if the conditions warrant a lower, that could be the basis for a speeding violation as well. So I'm going to probably imagine weather, affected. So these are speeding citations by charge for the basic rule. And you'll see again that there's a decline in terms over the last 10 years, tickets issued for violations of the basic rule, whether it's a state police or local. I was trying to figure out why would there be that big spike for local. The only thing I can think is that maybe it was a winter that had a lot of storms, winter storms or something, and there were more tickets issued, based on this statute. I don't have an explanation.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I have two questions. First is, does this include like sheriffs writing tickets?
It could, because it does have local, so that would be sheriff versus state police.
Yeah, I know we've had different, there's been different propensity to ticket based off of the sheriff that's in
The
office.
locality, right?
Yeah, at least in Bridgewater, Vermont.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, do you have breakouts of anything to do with workplace related speeding, or because it is a double fine, it's my understanding, in work zones.
Oh, work zone.
So if you have anything on the work zones, that would be very helpful, especially since we're not moving forward with the pilot program. That would be an interesting
Oh,
thing to get data on. And then also
Maybe we are.
maybe we are moving forward with it. We'll find out. Yeah. And then schools, or I'm wondering, when you have the local basic rule, is a condition the location like a school, or mainly just weather?
well, this says reasonable and prudent under the conditions, having regard for the actual and potential hazards
Okay.
than existing. So I'm guessing more the former in terms of, it does talk about, the driver of every vehicle shall be consistent with the requirements of subsection A, drive at an appropriate reduced speed when approaching and crossing an intersection or railway grade crossing, when approaching and going around a curve, when approaching the crest of a hill, when traveling upon any narrow or winding roadway, and when special hazards exist. So it sounds like more conditions versus the school or
Okay.
work zone. But Joanne, do you know, can we break it down? Do we have data points?
I won't be able to provide it right now, but I can provide additional stats on work zones and school zones if you'd like.
That would be
Sure.
really cool, because I think that's two areas that I hear from a lot of people, and it might be that we just notice it more.
Hmm.
But if there's real data to back up that we're either not enforcing it at the same rate or even enforcing it more, that would be
Great.
so thank you.
Good. We'll make notes as we go along and then provide it for you. The rest of the pages have to do with that breakdown. I mentioned how many miles per hour over the speed limit, and whether it's state, it's called interstate or state, or the local. This next page shows that again, there's for speeding 1 to 20 miles per hour, more than half is few for that. When it's 21 or more miles per hour, it looks like it's getting back up to pre-COVID levels. So for state issued violations, if it's 20 or more, it's on par with COVID. If it's 20 or less, it looks like it's about half as many as before. And similarly, it's kind of interesting, the next one is local. And for 1 to 10 miles per hour, almost a third of that, or certainly a big decrease for 1 to 10, the same thing for 11 to 20 local speed limits. This is statewide.
So when it means local speed limits, would this be enforcement by local police departments?
Local
Or
police.
would that mean just local and enforcement across the board, state police, local police, sheriff's office.
My understanding of the data, and Joanne, please confirm or let me know if I'm wrong, is local would mean local municipal or sheriff issued tickets versus state police tickets. Is that correct?
That's accurate.
Okay,
So it's,
what?
sorry, so to clarify, so it's the officer writing the ticket, not
Yes.
under which statute, like whether it's a local speed limit or a interstate. speed
The officer,
limit.
because the state police would have jurisdiction
Right.
on different
Okay.
roads then.
Okay,
Okay, so just two more quick. So just to be really clear. So local speed limit does not mean necessarily the speed limit within the town? Or it could
It
mean
would,
that?
it would be
or
the
it
local
would.
officer enforcing the local speed limit.
Okay, within a town. I
Yes,
mean, we're everything within a town, but
yeah, we're
A
not.
Burlington police officer could write a ticket on the interstate,
yes,
right? Or a DMV officer could write a ticket on a local town road. My understanding.
Yeah, Joanne?
I think it was slide 4, oops, which deals with the basic rule and the local basic rule. The local basic rule is where the municipality adopts the state ordinance. So they can issue tickets, but yes, any officer can issue these tickets.
Oh,
okay, so the titles are based on the location of the
oh,
violation,
Yeah,
not
and I
the.
apologize.
that was my original question.
Oh,
So this is not about who's doing the enforcing. This is whether, so for example, in my town, the school is not on a state highway but so if they went speeding by the school, it doesn't matter who gave the ticket out. It means local means that, not who's handing the ticket out.
And I apologize, but I misunderstood. I assumed local meant the local municipal officer enforcing the local speed limits. But that, I think I'm wrong.
Okay.
Is that, so Joanne, is that kind of the vast majority though? I don't know. Would you have a state trooper issuing local tickets within a municipality typically, or?
I wouldn't think so, but that would probably be maybe law enforcement question.
Actually, that's
Um,
good for them though.
Yeah.
And
Probably
then,
not. too.
probably not unless it's something really egregious, but does the revenue go to local if it's local here?
Portion. Do you know the breakdown, Joanne?
I do not know the breakdown.
I
That
know,
would
that would be
the
really
finance.
I could find out from finance.
There are a handful of communities that still have contracts with the state
Yep.
police.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And when they do that, I would suspect if the school's not on a state highway. So, but this is now, we'll dig deeper into this. This is across the board, whether it's state police, sheriffs, or all the tickets are in there, but this is probably something that's not on the state highway system.
It's local speed.
It's
So
low.
it's a local road, maybe that's the way to think
Right.
about it.
Yep.
State
Okay.
road versus town road would be-
Maybe, yeah,
Or the highway would be the other demarcation.
the interstate, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well,
And
no more.
for the more excessive speed limit violations on the next page, 21 to 30 and 31 or more, there is less of a decrease. And actually for the 31 or more, it's pretty level, even during COVID.
But there aren't many of those,
No, 210 per year,
which is really
far
out
fewer.
of even 20,000, that's not.
Yeah, yeah, there is that difference. I think somebody mentioned if it's really egregious, looks like that would be caught.
Or that's
There's,
31, that's,
it's like
That-
90 miles an hour.
yeah, or I was gonna say 100.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, that happens on the highway. I mean, I drive a lot on
Ooh.
89 and 91.
And
It's there.
I get passed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going under the speed limit. And I guess continuing on, if it's for the lower level, 1 to 10 miles per hour, it's, you know, a quarter of what the pre-COVID level was. And this is for state speed limits, 11 to 20, about half. And then I think you'll see, and you can follow along the, kind of the trend. And then the last page just shows a bar graph versus the linear.
Same data.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I don't know how hard it is to hold these up. I don't want to pretty much work for you, but I wondered if you had similar charts or tinted window violations.
Joanne, do we have that data point?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear his question.
I've got 3 other data points I was wondering about. Tinted window violations, any kind of license plate, like the license plate's not there, or it's not visible, or it's covered, any kind of license plate violation, and then lack of a valid inspection.
Oh.
You can be registered but not inspected. So I wondered if we had data on.
How about no insurance?
Joanne, do you have a handy the list of data points that we would be able to identify?
That would be the waiver penalty schedule. There is some codes that I can look up for the tinted window, license plate, not displayed, and lack of valid inspection. That's the 3 you're looking for, correct?
Right, also, did you say no insurance? Did someone?
No insurance.
No insurance?
No
I've had-
insurance?
I've had a number of people that I know that have been, had incidents with
Oh,
people and then, rear-ended, and then, the other driver didn't have any insurance and they're stuck with Joe.
or hopefully they have under insurance coverage.
Right,
Right,
but then,
there's,
but if you do that too many times, your insurance goes up.
is affected, right? In terms of the no insurance, we would have a code for that, but I think that would only show up if they were stopped and asked to provide proof of insurance and didn't have it. You know, that's when, because otherwise you wouldn't have any way to.
I have, a few times in my life been pulled over for speeding. Not many, but, and every time I've ever been pulled over, they ask for, the first thing they ask for is your license and proof of insurance.
In registration.
Yep. Yep.
So we would have that, but it would be hard to tell what the no insurance.
Well, it'd just be interesting to see
Yeah.
if we could compare that in the past to where we are now and what the trends are.
Would you like this for 10 years ago versus today for each?
Yeah,
of
if
us?
we could have all of that brought in,
Sure.
and we will, if anything you can produce for dollar amounts around what each of this is, because we will have law enforcement.
Oh, great. Okay.
And it, you know, I'm sure it would be interesting, you know, we'll on the revenue side, what this would produce, you know, conversely, I think somebody in the state police or is going to say, well, it costs this much to do it. So it is trying to figure out the balance and understand the reasons why these are down. Because I'm just going to speak personally for myself. I can't believe there's less people speeding.
Well, and to that point, I was listening actually on the radio driving here today. There was a gentleman who was talking about transportation issues. And one point he made in terms of the fewer number of tickets was that possibly could be due in part to the number of remote meetings that people have now. And that there are fewer people driving to meetings and all, which actually does make sense. I know in the courts, we have remote hearings, but I think in the business world or wherever, whatever.
I have to say, if you look at all of the charts for the estimates of vehicle miles traveled, we had a dip during COVID. And we were now back up above
Oh,
the
okay.
number of vehicle miles traveled versus pre, and we're on this track. The estimates are that, and I use this a lot, in 1980, the average car traveled 10,000 miles a year. The average American car now is 13,500, but it's always been an upward track, except for the 2 years in the middle of COVID.
Interesting.
And that was the only time in our history. So I think I'm not really dived into this far enough to make all of this jive in my head, but
That's interesting. So remote meetings doesn't necessarily sound like it had an impact.
well, it might,
did during-
it might affect
During-
business people in that, but I'm not sure, I think we need to get into this further.
Okay, well, we can certainly gather that. Did you have in mind next week to have follow up?
Yeah, that, we probably won't get to it this week, so if you could,
Okay. And what I can do is let Megan know when we have it. And then I'm happy to either send it in or come and present it, whatever you all prefer, whatever your time allows.
or can put you, if it's trouble for you to get here.
Oh, it's not right next door.
Yeah, I know that, but
Yeah.
we all get busy.
Oh, no, that's fine. Joanne, we should be able to gather this quickly, I would think.
Sure. Yep,
Great.
it shouldn't take too long. Thank you.
So whenever we're ready for it.
Something I might want to ask for in the future, but not necessarily now, but just if you can just check if you can do it, is data by county possibly, so that we can just have a geographic sense of it.
Yes.
Competition.
Nah.
Who's got the safest driver?
Is my interstate faster than your interstate?
Well, actually, what I see is from Montpelier to Burlington, things really speed up, because I used to drive from Brattleboro to Winooski a lot. And so I would just note the behavior got really interesting and reminded me of other states when I was getting past Montpelier.
So it speeds up when you get to Senator Kirchlick's district. The world becomes faster in Senator.
Only halfway.
Joanne, I assume we can do it by county.
I'll
Or
have
some-
to check on that, or, like, agencies. We definitely have reports by agencies, but, I'll check on the data by county. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
anything that would just show the geographic representation, because the different barracks might have their own data too. You might be able to sort by that.
Okay. We will find out.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you. You did really good. You
Yeah.
started right in time and you're
Oh.
2 minutes left.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you very much. I brought over the appointees for the Vermont Supreme Court positions, and they're in Senate Judiciary, so I'm gonna guess they're still going. So I'll return over there then. And I really appreciate the opportunity and your interest, and we'll follow up with the additional data. And if anything else comes to mind, don't hesitate, just let us know. We'll
If any of the rest of you have anything that you think we've missed, Megan will be in touch.
Sounds great. All right,
Thank you so much.
my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Nice to see you all.
Yes.
Joanne, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, so I'll just let the committee know that I did ask Logan for information from DMV on the number of inspections and then the number of registrations, because I thought it would be helpful to
Yep.
compare.
Yep.
Are we just also getting less people registering as well as less tickets?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
I think it would be good to have that information.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all.
We're gonna go off